Everyone who's been to Japan probably has some stories that are outside of the normal touristy stuff, like visiting Tokyo Skytree or Tokyo Tower. And today, we wanted to share a few of the stories that we had that were outside of the normal touristy stuff, and we're a little off the beaten path. First off, I was in Japan in October of 2024, so not too long ago. We had just arrived in Tokyo, got on the train, got to Akihabara, and checked into our hotel. And Luke was feeling a little under the weather. He had a headache, so he went to bed that night. And I decided that I was going to go out and just explore and have a drink. So I found a local park, got myself some chu-hais, and sat and just enjoyed the night. It was getting late, so I walked around, did some exploring, found some cool temples. The next day, we decided to go out, and I said, Luke, this place was pretty cool. I liked the vibe there. So we went back to the park. And as we're sitting there having our drinks, a man across from us walks over. And he says, I heard you guys were speaking English. Would you mind if I sat down and talked to you for a little bit? We were like, no, man, it's cool. Like, welcome. Glad to talk to you. We learned that this man's name is Watanabe, and he works a few blocks over at a Chinese restaurant, and we had really good conversation with him. His English was really good. I got to practice my Japanese a little bit. We were just shooting the shit, having a good time. So Watanabe stands up and he says, you guys are pretty cool, and thank you for letting me come and talk to you. I'm gonna go buy you some beers. And we're like, no, dude, it's cool. You don't have to buy us any beers. He's like, no. I insist on buying you some beers. So Watanabe leaves. Me and Luke are just sitting there for maybe 10, 15 minutes. And back comes Watanabe with 2 chu-hais for each of us. And if you don't know what a chu-hai is, they're kind of called the gaijin killers. They're equivalent to like a Four Loko in America. And they get you pretty drunk if you're not used to them. And that's exactly what they did. So me and Luke were very drunk. We parted ways with Watanabe. Maybe he'll be back in that park again. I do want to go back there and try and find Watanabe, but we got back to the hotel. Luke threw up, and that was the end of our chance encounter with Watanabe. So staying on the topic of meeting someone very interesting in Japan, I also went to Japan in 2024 in March with my girlfriend Amanda. And we basically did kind of the basic route. It was her first time there, but instead we also planned a trip to Hiroshima. We're on our first night in Hiroshima, just kind of exploring the city. We went to a park, and it's getting late, and we decide to go back to our hotel because we have a busy day tomorrow. So we're walking back, and we're about to cross the main drag street of Hiroshima, and I see out of the corner of my eye this American flag just dangling on the side of a building. And being that American that I am, I decide, well, let's go see what that's all about, because not every day you see an American flag in Japan. So we went over, and I see this big sign that says beer, and I see a Budweiser sign. So that's my cue to go in. So you go up the stairs, you make a right turn, almost 180 degrees, and we see a shroud of Americana things and this sign that says Sam's Bar. We open the door, we go in, and every single square inch of this place is covered in some sort of Americana memorabilia, from antique guns to pictures of American sports teams to autographs of famous American people that have apparently been at the bar. There's peanuts, there's antiques of General Custer's weapons. It's just all Americana stuff, and it was kind of nice to see, being an American, and that's kind of like that little taste of home. They did it really well. So we sit down, I get a Budweiser. I think Amanda got an American beer as well, because that's really what they sold, was just American beer. We're just kind of taking it all in the environment. So we spend some time there, eat some peanuts and bar food that Japan offers. So I go to the bar, we're about to leave, pay my tab, and I ask, who's Sam? And the nice woman at the counter said, Sam's the owner. And I said, is Sam here? So out walks Sam with like the biggest grin on his face, and we just kind of low-key chatted up. I said, Sam, I love your bar. It's just amazing. And he was one of the kindest souls I've ever met. We kind of had a small conversation, and we said, hey, we got to get going. It's getting late. Thank you for your hospitality, Sam. I appreciate it. So we walk out, and as we're about to go down the stairs to leave the building, Sam pops out the door, and he gives my girlfriend and I these 2 paper cranes. If you don't know anything about Hiroshima, it's very famous for its paper cranes. They're a peace symbol for the city as when it was bombed in 1945. So he hands us 2 handmade paper cranes that him and his staff make for people. I felt very honored to receive the paper crane from Sam, being as we didn't ask, he just kind of gave it to us. So I put it in my little picture for my Japan thing that's hanging up on my wall, and it to this day is my most prized Japan possession that I own. I think something important to take away from this story is to go talk to people and say something, because if you hadn't gone up to the bar and asked who's Sam, you definitely, I don't know about definitely, but your chances of having that experience would have been significantly lower. Yeah, and same with going out and doing things that are off the beaten path. Like if you wouldn't have just gone to a park to drink, you wouldn't have met Watanabe. Right. So if you're going to Japan, go do things that are different. Go talk to people. Yeah. Just enjoy it. Literally just go explore. This next one is kind of a big deal for me. I mean, I've been a fan of like anime and idol culture for quite a long time now. And I've been in Japan multiple times, but I've never seen an idol show. So back in October, we decided that we are going to go see an idol show. And chances had it, we were in Shinjuku. At the time, one of Luke's favorite idol groups was performing. So we're like, hell yeah, let's go see a fucking idol show. Let's go finally do this. We get there, and we just pay at the door because I was a little, I don't know about nervous, if that's the right word, because there's like online sales, and Japan does a lot of lottery stuff. So I'm like, can we even get in? So we passed the first barrier. We bought our tickets. We went in, had a quick drink because the ticket came with a beverage ticket. We're just waiting around, waiting for the show to start. And the first group comes on. It was a really small, intimate place. It was called Shinjuku Loft. It was like me and Luke, maybe 5 or 6 other people. We're just having a good time, listening to music, kind of jumping around a little bit. So one thing we didn't know about this show was there were, I want to say 9 idol groups performing, each 20-minute sets. So we were there for 4 hours. It was a crazy, long, exhausting experience. But as each group changed and a new one came on, you could see that group's fans come in and they would go fucking bananas. So this one, two in particular, I would say, this older guy walks in a suit, a full-on suit. He's probably 50 years old, I would say. And he's just hanging out, jamming. And his favorite group came on. He busts off his jacket, pulls out his backpack and gets the glow sticks, and he is going bananas. He knows all the dance moves. And one of the coolest things about this was me and Luke were down in the pit. We stick out like a sore thumb. We are just 2 random Americans. I didn't know. I knew like one idol group there. I didn't know any of the dance moves. We didn't have glow sticks. We were very underprepared for this situation. He turns around and he's like, do this. And he's teaching us all the dance moves. So everyone in like the pit, there's like 10 of us at this point, are all doing the dance moves, running in circles, jumping, doing everything. And it was so much fun. Everyone was super nice. They included us in everything. Then the next group came on and their favorite fan turns around, looks at us, and teaches us all the dance moves and what to do. It was just a crazy, fun experience. I would have taken like video or pictures, but it did say like no photography. I didn't want to be that guy and take pictures or videos. But if you have a chance, I would definitely go see an idol show. It was so much fun. I was exhausted at the end of this 4 hours. I mean, holy shit. They went ham. I did not expect to have that much fun there, not knowing a single lyric, a single dance move, or really even a single group. It was just nice. Everyone was so inclusive with it. So this next story also involves being inclusive. This was a trip that Anthony, I, and my best friend Jonathan took in 2023, back in April. So we were in Kyoto, and we're just kind of walking about on our first day there, getting the vibe of everything. And we stumble across this temple ground, and we decide just to walk along it, just explore. The temple grounds grow bigger and bigger, and we become sort of lost along our way.
We walked up the side path, not up the main entrance.
Yeah.
Because we had just stumbled into it.
Yeah.
And we were walking around the grounds that felt like they were closed. We were like, there's no one
there
here.
was stuff going on.
Yeah, there was like nothing. There were no people
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So we stumble on these temple grounds, and we're kind of taking the back way in. We don't really know how we got there, and there's cars everywhere, there's vans, and there's almost construction going on. We don't really know what's going on. We feel like it's closed, and we shouldn't be where we are. We eventually make it to the main temple, and we see a huge group of people. We hear instruments from the inside, and we decide to investigate. So we're just kind of walking about, and we get invited inside.
Oh, you kind of forgot one important little thing.
What?
So me and Alex had gone to the bathroom, and there were some chairs outside of the bathroom. And while we were in the bathroom, this man approached Jonathan and started talking to him and just asking like where he's from and things like that. And they got to know each other a little bit. And then we come out, and we didn't even know that this conversation had happened. So everything that was said, I don't even know. Led us to where we had gone next because he had talked to Jonathan.
So we get basically chauffeured into the temple. We take our shoes off. I'm pretty sure we had to like wash our hands and do something. So they take us up, and we go inside, and there's just a massive audience. Everybody's quiet. There's TV cameras. There's some sort of very important ceremony going on. And we kind of get shuffled to the back, and we just kind of sit there and watch what's going on. There's TVs and monitors and cameras, and I don't know, probably 400 people in this temple.
It was very, very busy.
Yeah, they were playing these instruments. There was something really important going on, and we just kind of had the opportunity to sit in on this event for 30 minutes. So we eventually make our way out. We put our shoes on, and I think we came across the gentleman again.
Oh yeah, he was outside again.
Yeah, he kind of chatted with us a little bit, asked what we thought, and nonetheless, we talked to the gentleman. We part ways. We thank him for giving us the opportunity to see something so amazing and unique. We just kind of go along our ways of Cheonin Temple, and it was just one of those things that I'm never gonna forget. We got to sit on this crazy, unique experience for free, and had no idea we even were supposed to be there, or we're not supposed to be there.
It's one of the best parts about just going around is stumbling upon something that you had no idea about. This next one is from, again, my last trip to Japan. There's a little bit of backstory with this one, so I'll start there. So we were getting ready to head to Osaka, and we were in Kyoto. We were going to go do our laundry, and it starts downpouring, and being stubborn, we didn't get any umbrellas, and the laundromat was significantly further than where we had thought it was. So we are covered in rain, sitting outside for maybe 2 hours finishing our laundry. Fairly miserable experience. Go get an umbrella if it starts raining, really. So anyway, we make our way to Osaka after all our laundry is finished, and the rain does not let up. So we check into our hotel, and we go out exploring. We eat some food. Went to a pizza joint Alex told us about called A Pizza. Very delicious pizza. And it's still raining this whole time, and we still don't have umbrellas. So the whole time we've been in Osaka and Kyoto, we've been fairly wet and just nasty, I would say. We're sitting in a little bar on the Dotonbori River Walk, and I'm like, Luke, let's go to a bar tonight. Let's go have fun. And he finds this bar called Bar Dilemma. Now, we didn't decide to go there at that moment. We had just decided we're going to go walk around and explore the area, and if we see something, we'll stumble into it, and that'll be that. So we're walking around, and I see on a stair, it says Bar Dilemma. I'm like, oh, that's the one Luke pointed out. So we usher ourselves in there, and I sit down next to this man who was from Bermuda. He brewed beer up in Umeda, and he was telling me about the kind of beer he brewed, and we had talked about music a lot. He was very into metal. I just got to say, the vibes at this bar were unmatched in any bar I've ever been to, ever. they gave me a pen and I wrote on the wall like Anthony 2024, and I drew Popco or Peepa Me, and everyone was so friendly and kind. We were all just talking, and they had karaoke, so we were singing. Meanwhile, I'm slamming highballs. The guy I had met had some friends who were also Americans that were living in the area, and they came out to the bar. I think there were 3 more of them. So they get there, and the bartender's like, hey, we're gonna play some games. So he gives us like some cards. We had to put them on our head, and you had to guess a number. And we played that for a while, and every time you lost, you took a shot. And it kind of like stacked to where I lost the pot. So I had to take 4 shots. And everyone else was really kind. They were like, hey, we'll take some of those shots for you. So I didn't have to take 4 shots of tequila, which I really, really hate. Anyway, Luke is playing Super Smash Bros. With the owner. Every time he loses, he dies. Every time he dies, he has to take a shot. Luke is slamming shots. I'm getting hit with shots. I've been slamming highballs all night. I'm extremely, extremely drunk, as is Luke. But the night isn't over, because we got there at 7 o'clock. I pull out my vape, and in Japan, you cannot buy nicotine vapes. So one of the Americans sees that I have this, and he's like, hey, can I buy that off of you? I'm like, no, not this one, but I have another one that you can have. It is half used. He's like, I don't care. What do you want for it? I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, whatever. He's like, I'll give you 3,000 yen for your half used vape. I'm like, you got it. Like, done deal. When we get out of here, we'll take you back to our hotel. I'll give it to you, and we'll be square. He's like, cool. Anyway, we're getting ready to leave, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna pay the tab, and then we'll go back to the hotel. And they're like, no, it's all good. I'm like, what do you mean it's all good? He's like, we covered your tab for you. You don't have to worry about it. These guys covered our tab, which I have no idea how much it cost. I do know, however, that this was not a cheap bill. I had probably had 13 highballs. I don't know if all the shots were included on the tab. I have no idea how much Luke had or how many shots he had. So this was a very, very expensive tab, and they covered it for us. I was like, hell yeah, this is fantastic. But anyway, we leave Bar Dilemma to go back to our hotel. We get there, I sell him my vape. He gives me 3,000 yen. I'm like, cool. And, you know, the night wasn't over. It was 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning at this point. We had been at the bar for, I think, 6 or 7 hours. So we're like, let's go to the conveni. And we go to the conveni, and we're getting some more drinks because we're just going to go sit on the river walk and just hang out. And we meet these 2 guys. I think they were from Bosnia or Croatia. One of the guys was like, oh, you guys can get your drinks. And I don't know, there was like a miscommunication where they thought one was angry, but no one was. So we get out of the bar, and we're like, hey, you guys can come to the Riverwalk with us. And they do. It was their first night in Osaka, and we're all hanging out at the Riverwalk. And by the time we leave there, it is 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired. Luke was falling asleep standing up, so he went home like 10 minutes earlier than me. So I exchanged numbers with these guys and Instagrams. And I go back, and I fall asleep. And that's the end of the night. But like, the story is not quite over. Because I woke up the next morning feeling like shit. I thought I was just hungover, but I wasn't. Actually, me and Luke were both sick with a cold that lasted like the rest of the trip in Japan, which really sucked. That day I felt horrible. But we tried to go to the brewery where the one guy from Bermuda works. He gave us some free beer. And then we eventually stumbled across the 2 guys we'd met from Bosnia, and we hit the bars with them again later that night. And that kind of concludes this event, I'll say.
The Dilemma of Osaka.
The Dilemma of Osaka at Bar Dilemma.
Do you go drink even when you're sick, or do you rest?
Oh, we went to drink again. Not at Bar Dilemma, but other places.
So this last story we have also involves a lot of drinking, but this time in Kyoto. So this was April 2023 with myself, Anthony, and Jonathan. And I think it's our full day in Kyoto. We decide to go out and drink, have a good time, bar hop a little. We go to a bunch of really cool bars. The first one we went to, the bartender did work in America. He spoke great English. He was amazing. He was so meticulous about the way he chopped his ice ball. It took like 20 minutes just to get a gin with ice, which is fine because he worked so hard on it. But a very, very eccentric man he was, and that just kind of started off the theme of the night. So we go to a whole bunch of different bars. We go to one where you sit down in a booth and they play a bunch of rock music. It was really chill, a good time. And the night is coming to an end. We are walking in the back alleys of the Gion district.
It was
by the river.
You could say it was the kind of like a downtown area.
Yeah. So we're walking in these back alleys of the downtown area. Very small alleys, small buildings and stuff. And we're walking trying to find the last bar for the night. And my buddy Jonathan hears music from a door. Me and Anthony are a little hesitant to go inside. We're like, hey, let's just pass this one up. I don't really think this is the one. But my buddy's very insistent on going in. So he opens the door, and we see what looks like a picture out of the game Yakuza to a T. There are a few old people in kimonos and traditional Japanese dress. The style and theme of the bar is something out of the 1970s or 80s. It doesn't seem like it has seen anything modern since 1985. They are singing old karaoke songs, and when we enter the door and they see that we are not Japanese, they all look more surprised than I think I've ever seen anybody look before. So, after what felt like an eternity for standing there in silence, they welcome us in. They usher us to the couch, and they have us sit down, and they give us snacks, and they offer us beverages.
It feels like we don't belong here. To say that we weren't welcome would be wrong, because everyone was very nice. They were very welcoming, and we chatted with people, and we had laughs, and we had fun. But to say we were unexpected guests, that's exactly how it felt. So we're sitting down, and I'm sitting next to this man and his wife, who they had just gotten married. I think they were on their honeymoon. They spoke really good English. I think they went to school in Colorado, and they were amazed that me and Alex were twins. So then comes the karaoke portion. Us being Americans, we had to introduce them to some traditional American music. And that was,
I Got Friends in Low Places.
I Got Friends in Low Places, which surprisingly they had it on the karaoke machine. So I have this video of Jonathan and all of us belting out I've Got Friends in Low Places in this bar in Kyoto. That was one of the more interesting bars that I've ever been to. Because, again, I say we were unexpected guests, it really felt like.
Yeah, that is the first and only time that I've actually felt intimidated in Japan. I did not feel like we were supposed to be there. Whether their hospitality was fake or not, they put on a great mask. I know in this story we were the silly gaijin that kind of went into somewhere that we don't particularly belong, but they were extremely kind. They were very welcoming and nice. Everybody there was super talkative and asked us questions, and we tried our best to ask them. It was one of those bars where it felt like they were old money.
A little bit.
They felt like old, privileged money people, and we were the broke foreigners who intruded on their pleasant karaoke night.
Right. That is pretty much how it felt. Everyone was super nice. I didn't feel unwelcome even for a second. I felt like I was being a burden to them by being there.
I was a little eager to leave, but I did have a good time.
It was a lot of fun singing and chatting with everybody and having a few drinks. And that's it. Those are just a few of the stories that are a little bit off the beaten path that we have had in Japan.
So I hope this encourages you, if you do go to Japan, or if you're going soon, to stray from that path a little bit. You know, go explore, go wander, stumble into some place that you might be a little nervous to go into. Go inside the door that's playing fun music, and go ask who Sam is. Thank you guys so much for watching the video and supporting Skeesh. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, the bell button. Leave a comment down below and share some of your favorite stories from Japan, or something you hope to do if you ever do end up going over there. Make sure to like the video, and we'll see you guys next time on Skeesh.